If you want to up your game when it comes to front-end generation using Claude Code and skills, keep watching. I'm going to show you a professional process that works in an enterprise environment. Thus, it's going to work everywhere. So the entire process is you can either run the entire process or you can pick any skill at any point. But the way I like to work is I do start with the grill me skill, which is the top one, and it goes through the design brief, then the information architecture, design tokens, then there's the front-end design skill that actually builds the components and the pages, and then the optional one, which is the design review. Once the LLM finishes the work, it can either use the MCP server, something like a Playwright MCP server. So the first skill, which is the grill me skill, probably the most important one. This one is not for the lazy people because the LLM is actually going to grill you. You might end up spending like 20 minutes answering questions, but that is the purpose of this skill. And it probably is the shortest skill, which is funny enough. The LLM needs to be relentless to understand your requirements so you and the LLM are on the same page. The next step, if you follow this flow, is the design brief, which looks through the process, looks through the actual code base as well. It is trying to identify if there is a design system, if there are components already in the repository. If there are no components or no design system, it is going to load the next step as well once this finishes. Then there is the information architecture. So the LLM is going to go through all the documentation so far and figure out what needs to be captured in the information architecture. It might ask you some questions if it's a very complicated feature like a multi-page or you are redesigning the navigation patterns and so on. Now the design token can also be skipped, the fourth systemized step, if you have a design system and components in your actual repository. This is where the brief turns into tasks, takes all the documentation, mainly the design brief, and it turns it into separate tasks. So the LLM can actually follow the tasks, find the dependencies, and obviously also gives you feedback where it is. The sixth one, which is the build phase, that's where the LLM actually produces code, is the front-end design skill. And then there is the last step, which is the design review. So we have our front end generated. There's a few ways we can go about this. So we can either grab a screenshot, paste that into Claude Code, and then kick off design review skill. Another way you can use the seventh design review step is when the sixth step is finished, the front end design step is finished, you can use a Playwright MCP server that can kick off the headless browser. Okay, let me show you how to set this up. It's super easy. It applies to any skill in Claude Code. So if you are going to navigate to the GitHub repo, there's going to be a link in the description, and scroll down and find the npx skills add command. All you need to do is just copy it, then just paste that in the terminal and press enter. What is going to happen is going to load the Vercel skills CLI tool, which you get an option to select which skills you want to get access to. So I'm just going to select all of them: design brief, design flow, design review, design tokens, front-end design skill, grill me skill, and information architecture. And we just press enter. And we get the choice of the application we want to use the skills in. So I'm just going to use Claude Code. And if you pay attention here on the right-hand side, let me maybe zoom in, you're going to see two folders appear, Agents and Claude. So that's where the skills will be. Press enter. It is going to ask me, do I want to get these skills only for the project, this project, or globally? I'm just going to choose project in this case. If you don't know what to do, just pick the recommended. And once I hit enter, it is going to just ask me to confirm again. And if I press enter again, last time, you're going to see two folders pop up here with the skills. And that is about it. So we've got our skills here. There you go. You've got your agents, all the skills, the design skills that are going to just elevate your workflow when you're working either with Claude Code or Cursor. Okay, now that your skills are installed in this project, all we need to do is just run Claude/skills just to confirm they are here. And if we look at the list, we should see design flow, design review, design tokens. All those skills are currently in Claude Code, available to us to use in this tool. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go through the entire flow. So if you type in / and then design, you're going to see the design skills that I currently have here. So I'm just going to use flow, press tab, and then hey, I want to work on a application that would be an asset management application. I'm going to keep this vague so you guys can actually see how it's going to grill me in this case. What kind of questions are we going to get and how many? And it can be a lot sometimes depending on the scope of the feature. Grill me is going to be the first one, the skill, design brief, information architecture, design tokens, brief to tasks, and then front-end design and design review. So it's asking if we want to skip anything. In this case, I am not going to skip anything. I'm going to try and show you the full workflow. Okay, so let's start with the phase one, which is grill me, where the LLM says, I'm going to stress test your thinking before we commit anything to paper. Yes, please run all the skills and we'll see what happens. See what the first question is going to be. Okay, so because the prompt we gave was super vague, it is asking us about the type and domain of the assets I want to track. And it gives you a few options: physical assets, IT assets. And then every single time you interact with these skills, they will give you some suggestions. This is the most important step in all the entire flow. So that's the second branch of the kind of a decision design tree that the skill is using. And it is actually asking us about the target user and scale. Good stuff. We've got the grill summary. So we went through, what was it, 9 questions. 9 questions. You might get more depending on the feature you are working on. And so you can always like cross check if this is what you want to do. And then it is asking us now if we want to move to the design brief. And obviously we do. So let's go. Before it actually creates the design brief, it needs to ask you a few questions, which are just design related. Like the first section was primarily about like the product requirements, right? What it needs to do, the application. Now it's about like, how do we want the application to actually look like? So it is actually asking us about the emotional tone of it. And then it gives you recommendations. Then it also gives you a few ideas when it comes to inspiration. So you can see linear being mentioned. You can see Google Admin Console being mentioned. And then the accessibility aspect of it as well. Okay, we are at the step of generating design tokens, which we just completed. It has saved it to material theme.css file. There's actually a lot in here. Take our design brief, which is here, as you can see, and it's going to break down into tasks and save that to a separate markdown file for it to be able to track every single task. Got a foundation. We've got our core UI. We have got somewhere here responsive and polish. Phase 6, which is actually using the front-end design skill to build the actual applications using the design brief and so on. Okay, so it finished generating. As you can see, this is the front end that we've got after the first pass. Look at the folder. So you see it created a folder, design, and then the IT asset management, which is a subfolder. The way this skills works, next time you're going to run, for it not to override the design brief and information architecture and tasks, it's going to create another subfolder, and you are going to end up with a design brief file, information architecture file, and then the tasks file. Okay, so here is our generation, dashboard, assets, categories, reports. It kind of looks like an IT asset management. Not too exciting. I guess that's the point. We can filter, we can sort, empty states are in place. We can click on the asset, which opens the dialog. We can edit that as well. So let's make a change, save. We can add an asset. Then categories, we get the information how many laptops, desktops, and so on we have. We can click and change the icon and change the name. Good stuff. Let me just screenshot a few screens, and then we can actually do the design review. So again, / design review, and then paste the screenshot. Let's maybe take a few others. And I'm going to show you a different way, which is probably a better way, which is fully autonomous using the Playwright MCP server, so I don't have to go and do this now, which is a little bit tedious, especially if you have a lot of pages. So let's do this first manually, just in case you guys don't have the Playwright MCP server. And design review, images, it's going to go analyze the images, look at the skill itself, what it needs to do. Okay, we've got our design review back from the LLM, and it has a few fixes it wants to actually propose. Categories page feels sparse. Donut chart segment ordering is wrong. Okay, interesting. Dark mode is exceptional. First time I have ever heard that. Better than most production admin tools. Wow, what an ego. What an ego. Review has finished. Mainly accessibility and some code changes, which is a good thing as well, because the LLMs, like, you know, if you use Figma Make, Stitch, or whatever else, it probably is going to ignore the accessibility aspect of it. So that's actually a good thing here. So let's have a look at it. So that's what it looks like. It's not the most flashiest website, but I think that's actually intentional and that's good for an asset management. One thing that I want to actually run is the Lighthouse option in Google Chrome. So this allows you to analyze a website, see how it kind of scores in terms of like accessibility, performance, and other things. So I'm just going to pick navigation, desktop is fine, performance, accessibility, best practices, and analyze the page. So we'll see what kind of a score are we going to get. One thing is, you know, generating beautiful UIs. The other thing is actually making it accessible and performant, right? So in this case, 91 performance, that's pretty good. It's actually very good. And accessibility, 100%. So the design review definitely worked. Best practices, 81. Deprecated API, we're not using an API, so I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, one last thing I want to show you is the Playwright MCP server, because it's also part of my kind of a design workflow and how I use skills with the MCP server. If you have no idea how to get access or even check if you have it, just type in /MCP. And then if you hit enter, it's going to show you the list of MCP servers you have. As you can see at the bottom, I've got the plugin. It's an MCP, Playwright MCP. If you don't have that, you can do plugin. So if you were to navigate left and right, it's going to jump to different tabs. And one of the plugins should be Playwright MCP. Because I have that already installed, it is going to be for me in the install tab. If you don't have that MCP server yet, just go to Discover, find Playwright MCP, hit enter, and install it. It's super useful and it's really worth doing it. I just want to show you how the Playwright MCP works. And I'm asking it to use the Playwright MCP to open the browser, so like a headless version of Chrome, then take screenshots and run the design review. Let's see what happens. Okay, so guys, this is not me. This is Claude Code just going through the website and making sure that it takes screenshots, and then it's going to analyze those screenshots with the design skill review. So again, this is running by itself. I'm not doing anything. Guys, so this is it for today. Thanks for watching. I'm going to put all the links in the description. After being an individual contributor for over 29 years now and also a design manager, it is super obvious to me that the most important thing right now is having a process. The old design process or pseudo process, because there was really never a process, I believe it is gone at this point. The AI tools are getting way better and much faster. But the thing to remember is that without process, you're going to get faster, but you're going to get chaos as well, and you're going to end up wasting a lot of time. If you are a designer, either starting or a senior designer, I'm going to be creating more videos that are just specific to designer community and individual contributors in general. So hit that subscribe button and I'm going to see you in the next one. So thanks for watching and bye.